Welcome all. We have Alex Howland here from Virbela. He is the founder. He is a PhD in president and co-founder of Virbela, a virtual world platform for remote work, learning, and events. Howland created Virbela in 2012 before it was purchased and made public by eXp World Holdings in 2018. Prior to co-founding Virbela, Howland was an instructor in the psychology department at the University of California, San Diego, where he taught industrial and organizational psychology to undergraduate students. His expertise in organizational psychology gives him a unique perspective on creating virtual work and education spaces. He designed Virbela specifically to create a unique virtual experience where users feel psychologically safe and are more likely to collaborate, brainstorm, and succeed. Let's welcome Alex.
Thank you. Great to be here. I know a lot of people are at the bar at this point, so appreciate you sticking with and hearing how eXp Realty built a multi-billion-dollar real estate company in VR. Quite an accomplishment. So a little bit about my background. I started Virbela in 2012 with some grant funds from GMAC, the owner of the GMAT exam to get into business school. They were looking for innovative ideas to improve graduate management education, and my hypothesis was that we could build a world for MBA students from all over the world to come and interact, participate in business simulations, and have an opportunity to practice the leadership skills that they practice in the real global economy. Things have progressed. We've pivoted a bit since then, and now Virbela is being used for remote work, virtual events, and still for distance education. A little bit about eXp Realty. eXp Realty is a brokerage that was founded in 2019 after the founder lost his shirt in the 2008 downturn in the housing market. When he just picked himself up and said, okay, when I start this next brokerage, I'm going to start a business that could survive any other future downturn. And he decided to build the business in the virtual world. So they've actually been in the virtual world since the start, 2009. And then the first national real estate brokerage with no brick and mortar operations. They run their entire business in a virtual world. They actually were on other platforms before coming over to Virbela in 2016. There were about 1,000 agents. So you might be wondering, how is this thing going? Since 2016, they've scaled from 1,000 agents to it's now 68,000 agents, and they've uplisted to the NASDAQ and are currently valued around $7 billion market cap company with, again, no brick and mortar offices. Their entire operations, from their recruiting to their C-suite and board meetings, are held in a virtual world with avatars. Kind of crazy, right? In the past year, they expanded, a year of COVID, they've expanded into 18 new countries without actually stepping foot into any of those countries. So expanding globally and cost effectively. Actually picked up by Harvard this past year. Interesting element of the case was really about the founder of eXp Realty and how, by building his business in the virtual world, he didn't have to go out and raise a ton of money to invest in, ironically, real estate, so all his employees could be there, or they could buy and sell houses from this real estate. So the founding family still holds over 50% equity in this multi-billion-dollar corporation because, again, they needed so little financing to start up because they were doing it virtually. They estimate that they've saved over $52 million in land and lease savings by being in the virtual world. They've had zero travel costs other than when they decide to get together, which they do occasionally. Maybe not zero carbon footprint because there's servers and whatnot, but again, think of the carbon footprint aspects of operating in a virtual world. And one that I'm most proud of as an organizational psychologist is people are actually enjoying working in this virtual environment. For the last 4 years, they've won Glassdoor's Best Place to Work, which is pretty incredible. They do employee net promoter scores, and they have scores in the 80s, which is really good. It goes from negative 100 to a positive 100. 80s is quite great. So it's been fascinating, again, for me as a psychologist, watching this growth from 1,000 agents to 68,000, and really just this global community in a virtual world. The real value is about the community. You know, as a psychologist, I have to say that. It's not about the tech, it's about the community that comes together in what this platform enables for these agents and staff to come together. So there's different environments in their virtual world where they come and do different interactions, from daily operations in boardrooms to over, I think, 500 hours of training a week in different areas. They have fun events in our virtual speakeasy, and the space really matters. What we find is we put the same 20 people in a large auditorium. They don't really participate. You take those same 20 people, you put them around a board table, all of a sudden they're engaging and interacting with each other. People really get immersed in the sense that they always sit in the same seat, the virtual seat, just like we do in the physical world. So you really get immersed, and I gotta say, most people here are coming in on their Mac or PC, not in a fully immersive VR headset, because they're choosing to do so. I personally work in here 40 hours a week. You couldn't pay me enough money to be in a headset for 40 hours a week, but it's practical to meet with folks. So this past year, they do have an annual conference that they bring folks together. They're supposed to be in Disney the year of the pandemic. Instead, they held their event in their virtual world, and actually had 3 times the attendance that they would have had in the physical world. They had about 18,000 people in the course of the week through the virtual world interacting, doing things like hiring DJ Jazzy Jeff in the speakeasy to do sets, lots of training and informal interaction, including an expo hall with about 40 different of their vendors who would have had a booth at their physical show. Here's a few more images from that scene. It's also interesting is there's a lot of kind of formal interactions that occur and synchronous things that are scheduled. But to me, it's really about the collision. The virtual world brings back kind of the water cooler opportunities. So we've seen some really interesting things happening, including a midnight wine and learn class that someone just popped up. A lot of mastermind groups have self-formed within the organization. There's a diversity and inclusion mastermind group that's self-formed within the virtual world. They've gotten so much power that the founder of that D&I organization is now on the board of the NASDAQ $7 billion company. So really allowing kind of grassroots community efforts to be happening in the environment in moving forward. We also see some interesting things from fun activities. We just had Halloween, so everyone was dressed up for Halloween and doing costume parties. We had our first wedding this year, and a couple who met in the virtual world. They're now together in the physical world. We're happy to share that. Not too weird, but they had part of their wedding in the physical world and part of their wedding in the eXp virtual world as well. So what are some of these advantages to doing this in the virtual world versus bringing people together in the office, or maybe just being on Zoom or Teams or the like? Really, it's about the social and spatial kind of presence, being there together for the asynchronous, synchronous kind of collisions that can occur. Your headquarters everywhere, globally. Wherever market you want to be in, your headquarters is already there. Obviously, there's a ton of savings, and you can recruit from anywhere. The connection that occurs is pretty powerful. The picture here in the bottom is actually my team. My team's grown from about 20 folks to about 160 since the pandemic hit. So most of these folks I haven't met face to face, but when we do our all hands meeting in this picture down below, I can put on private volumes, voice volumes around each table. So each table can be having their own conversation as we come into the meeting. So the first 5 minutes of the meeting, they're just chatting amongst themselves, and when I'm ready to go, I can take down those private volumes, and now we're a full group discussion. So really helping build culture and having that dialogue as an organization. You think of Zoom calls, they're all siloed. There's no way to cross kind of Zoom calls or whatnot. But here, everyone's in the same platform. You can jump in, you can have those casual collisions, you can access to leadership and kind of manage by walking around the halls and, as you would in the physical space. There's also this level of psychological safety we think that happen in the virtual world. You don't have to be on camera all day, right? You have this protection from your avatar, and you can represent yourself as you choose to represent yourself. Don't have to worry about getting ready necessarily in the morning or things like that. And again, we think of many companies have a company headquarters and then many satellite sites. But if you're a satellite site or you're one of the few remote employees, you're at a disadvantage for those who are at the company headquarters. Here, by putting your company headquarters in the cloud, everyone has equal access to leadership, equal visibility throughout the organization. So what are some lessons learned from eXp Realty's expansion? Again, they've been able to attract folks. They've been able to set up services just like you would in a physical environment, from HR to tech support in accounting, classes all the time. And again, they're even doing their board meetings in the environment. So really owning what they do here. Actually, to go back, even affiliated services, so that now they have so many people coming through their environment on a daily basis that they've been able to attract affiliate companies who pay to be on their campus, pay them money to be on their campus to sell to their agents as well, or provide additional services. So we think today, and we think of, messages from companies like Facebook and Meta or Facebook or whatnot, and what's going to be possible in 5 to 10 years from now. And while I agree that technology in 5 to 10 years from now is just going to be incredible, I think the message today is it's not too early to be starting to do this, right? This gentleman started this in 2009, right? You can imagine the state of the tech in 2009. And he's built again, $7 billion business all in a virtual world with no brick and mortar. So it's not too early. Folks can be doing it, are doing it, and I think the important lessons are going to be about how to build culture, how to do this operationally, rather than just what is the state of the tech. So here's a line I could actually, get aligned with our friend, Mr. Zuckerberg. The dream was to feel present with the people we care about. And for me, it really is about bringing people together and feeling like we're together in a way that allows us to have the benefits of being fully remote or working from anywhere while being present with our colleagues wherever they may be in the world. I'm going to stop there and get 2 extra minutes for questions. I think she's going to grab a mic just because they're recording.
Okay. Thank you so much. Round of applause. Okay, I've got the microphone. What are the questions that you have? Okay, excellent. Thank you.
Thank you. So I love it. Virbela's great. So my question is, for eXp, how do they actually show homes? Is it photos or videos? Because they didn't, reconstructing a home is a challenge.
Yeah, so sorry I didn't make that clear. So eXp is the brokerage. Their customer is the realtor. And it's the realtor out there selling real homes, right? So the realtors are across the country now, across the world, and they're still out in the real world showing up, whether it's at a Starbucks or showing up to the homes to sell the actual homes. It's not about selling the real estate in virtual reality, but rather servicing the realtor in the business and running the staff that runs the brokerage, who all go to work in the virtual world. We are dabbling with some things that are more consumer focused, but right now this is working.
Yeah, I have a question here.
Yes.
So I know you mentioned a lot of great advantages and what was going on. I was wondering, was there any thought or discussion to their ability to hire the 68,000 employees, that did it widen the candidate pool because of VR, because of the type of business that they were going into? That maybe that would have been more restrictive in a brick and mortar type.
Right. So if you think of like Remax and a lot of the others, they are franchise-based, right? So you need a franchise to go set up in a different area. Here they're able to centralize their whole back office, meaning that all of their realtors, all their 68,000 realtors are serviced in the back end by this central headquarters. So what it allows them to do is to get into new territories with literally no cost. They're already there. They don't need to set up any operations locally in that area because they've centralized all that back end work in one location, and any agent can get into the platform, right, wherever they may live. So that's allowed them to be the fastest growing real estate company in the world right now.
Thank you. Question right up here.
What was the learning curve like for the agents that were being onboarded? I'm just curious.
Good question. So I think the average age for their realtors is around in the low to mid 50s. So it's not like they're a bunch of 20 somethings in here. But what they do is they staff the environment just like you'd staff your brick and mortar, right? So when you land in eXp world, hello, you're greeted. There's a help desk right there. There's people around to support you. And then they have classes right away, helping onboard of like, here are the basics on how you use this. And then we try to make it really user-friendly, right? Click on a button where you want to go. You can walk places or there's a go-to menu. Charlie Fink spoke a little while ago, and he said one of our strengths, Virbela's strengths, is we meet people where there are. So not everyone has a VR headset yet. So I haven't focused on the consumer who's in the VR headset yet. Focusing mostly on those with a Mac or PC. And if those want to come in with a VR headset, they can do so. But it's not necessarily the focus. Accessibility is incredibly important to us.
Question. I see another hand. I actually had a question. I was just curious about how businesses that are conducting their own businesses in VR, how are they thriving more than traditional offices?
Traditional remote offices or traditional physical offices? Physical offices. So again, we think of just the cost of real estate, right? Incredible cost for real estate. And then you think about who you can recruit from, right? What area can you recruit? And that, if you have a local office, that means you probably need to recruit from just your local area, which becomes, harder to do, right? And then again, access to markets like the last question, eXp, if they had that central location, now they're just servicing those around them where they are bringing their headquarters to the world.
That's great. Any other questions from the audience? All right, applause for Alex Howland. Thank you so much.